Once upon a time there was the township of Louisavale. You could find it high in the ranges of the upper Brisbane Valley, some 90 miles northwest of Brisbane. Or you could find it if you listened carefully for the cries of the teamsters, or the sharp crack of their long whips, or the repetitive sound of the steam-driven sawmill.
And that's Louisavale. Now that's the mill. That's me and my dog and my whip. I could crack that whip at that age, and that's her house at Louisavale. Yeah. So the Woolies had to find their own accommodation on the other side of the creek, halfway up the range, that's where Mum was. But they weren't very nice, they weren't very comfortable. Plenty of scrub turkeys there they used to go out and shoot. And there was kangaroos and wallabies and that all around us, and the place was full of deer. There were all the big hoop pine forests up there. It was beautiful timber, the hoop pine. Pop, he had the job with Hedgehog and Gore's Mill. It was a timber mill in Brisbane. They had a big mill there, and they wanted another bullock team at Louisavale. He went down to Rathdown and he heard of some teams being sold down there, and he bought a team and drove it and up to Anora and on to Louisavale.
In 1920, bullocky Charles Sampson arrived in Louisavale with his wife Julia and his baby daughter Elsie, and a bullock team of 32 bullocks. During their 5-year stay in Louisavale, the family grew with the addition of Edith and Charles Jr.
Pop, he was in charge of any timber that was cut in the years that he was there. You know, he had to go out and mark the timber that had to be cut so that they didn't touch timber that wasn't, mature enough. There was timber cutters, they fell the trees, and then the teamsters would go in and pull out their load of logs, tow them out to a spot where they could load them, because they had the bullocks had to roll them up onto the wagon, so they had skids. When they had enough, they'd chain them onto the wagon so they couldn't slip and away they go to the mill. And when it was sawn, 2 teams would go from Louisavale to Linville, and they had to cross that Monsanto Creek 17 times. Well, 2 teams would go, and they'd 32 bullocks each. When they got to the creek, they'd hook the 2 teams to one wagon and pull it over, then the 2 teams to the next wagon pull it through the creek, because the wagons had all gone through. It was a hard life, the old timber life though. Mum going from an office job to that, I don't know how she took it. She was about 16 when she came to Brisbane and into the Moros. And then she got the job in Kodak and stayed there for years. But that wasn't a suitable marriage, her leaving the city life to go into the country. She used to take a terrible lot of pictures for the people outside, for their kids and that. She didn't charge. They'd supply the film and that, and she'd take it. And she didn't develop them for them. They used to send them to a chemist. I remember the one she took for, the ones where those kids are standing beside that log. She took those, and Easter came, and their father, he came up on a horse with a big packet of great big Easter eggs, 4 of us. From Linville to Louisavale, 3 days a week, a 4-horse coach used to come out with supplies here and take passengers in. Yeah, and then the women would go into Linville. They'd come up in the morning, take them out and bring them back at night. And that went 3 days a week. And anybody wanted to go by rail to Brisbane or that, they went in with it.
When Charles Sampson and his family left Louisavale in the mid-1920s, the small township consisted of 60 inhabitants and 12 houses. By 1940, this had grown to 100 inhabitants, 18 cottages and a boarding house. By 1944, Louisavale was no more. It was returning to the bush from which it came.